Hi everyone, Stepan here. Let's see. I've faced this guy before and he beat me once. Crazy. Okay. He's playing the Jobava, but with e3. That's kind of strange. Okay, so no bishop coming out to f4. What does that mean? Well, that means that I can play bishop f5 basically for free, and his knight is stuck on c3. I don't know what to make of this. I've never seen this. This seems strange to me. Unless he plays f4, but you really want a pawn on c3. If you go f4. Okay. This we will trade and go c6 to prevent queen b5. Now if e4, I'm happy to trade everything off. Knight bd7 first to be able to jump into f6. I mean, this setup doesn't really seem to give white an edge, in my opinion. I could go queen c7, e5, or I could go e6, bishop d6. Which leads to the Caro-Kann, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm also fighting against the future c4. Okay. The bishop belongs on d6. e7 is also okay, and I was more afraid of, queen h4 than queen e2. But, okay, does he really want to go c5? I guess we will see. So if I go queen c7 and he goes c5, I go bishop e7, then knight e5, knight bd7 seems okay. I'm going to wait with castling until I see what he does with the bishop. On d5 I'm still fine, I can take twice because I have a knight on f6. This is just a normal Caro-Kann position now, where I don't really have any issues. So the bishop is going to b2. Okay. So I'm going to castle and go rook e8 and e5 if I can. If he plays bishop g5 now, which he didn't, he's playing extremely quickly. Okay, rook e8 seems okay, fighting against d5. Next, either bishop b2 or bishop g5. I mean, I don't see many other sensible options. Okay, bishop b2. So he wants to go knight e5. So I'm wondering if I should go knight d7 or not. It's the first whatever in the month, maybe Saturday, or yeah. And then the sirens go off in the city. I don't know why. I think it's a test. Every first something of the month that happens. So if you can hear them, I apologize. In the name of my city. Okay, he wants to go knight e5. Let's think. If I go knight d7, he doesn't have d5, he doesn't have c5, he doesn't have knight e5. But he could go for knight g5. That may seem strange, but doesn't seem too bad. I want to go e5, and he has 4 defenders. I would have 4. Okay, I'm gonna threaten e5 by playing knight d7. I mean, if he plays c5 now, I go bishop f8, transfer my bishop to g7, and my bishop's pretty good. d5 just loses a pawn to e takes. Knight e5 blocks in his bishop as well as mine. So I may take with the bishop, but no, not really. I cannot give up a3 f8. These positions are always equal. That's the unfortunate part. It's always equal. Black has a plan to go a5, a4. So this is sort of the boring variation of the London in reverse, where white is forced to trade everything on d6, and then black pushes e5, and then everything gets traded off. The knight gets to f3, black plays h3, white plays h3. So this is the same thing in reverse, and the main moves are a5, or in the other position, a4 for white. Normally the bishop is still on c8, or in this case c1. So white in that position plays h3. I didn't play h6 here because he played b3, so I figured he was going to put the bishop on b2. And when I go a5, he should go a3. a4 would be a mistake because I would have bishop b4, rook d8, and c5 trying to break the position. So there are some ideas. I've played this with colors reversed, but this same position, just with the white pieces, twice in tournament games, and I won both games. Although, I mean, objectively, they should have ended in a draw, and they were against weaker opponents. One of them was, I want to say, 1800. The other one was unrated, but good. And I won one game in a rook endgame, double rook endgame, and the other game I won in a king and pawn endgame, which was actually drawn against the unrated player. You can find those games in the Road to GM playlist. So I have some experience in this position. Playing it as black, I'm a pawn down, so not that it's too relevant because it's quite boring. Yeah, the question is, what does he do? If he goes rook e1, I can just go bishop b4. And I have a draw in hand if I want it. But I wouldn't repeat, I would go a5. But then again, if he plays rook e1, why did he play rook d1? Seems like a waste of time. An update on the weather here, it's just gray and very, very rainy and cold. So, and another update, I had no sleep last night. Kira had to go out 20 times. I don't know what happened. Maybe she ate something, maybe she just had problems. Anyway, I just couldn't fall asleep because every 10 minutes she would ask me to take her out, so I did. So this is chess on no sleep, which is again good training. Sometimes during tournaments you don't get a lot of sleep and it's tough to play. I remember one time in the Varsar Open this year, in April, I got food poisoning and I didn't sleep all night. I fell asleep at like 6 a.m. Managed to draw the game, although it wasn't easy. Okay, now this is a fully symmetrical position. The question is, whose bishop is better if I take this? If I don't take this, white can go f4. And that opens up the diagonal, so I'd have bishop c5 as tempo, but not really because of bishop d4. Unless I go rook a d8, and then I would be threatening f6. The knight takes on d7, I take on h2, king h1, rook takes d7, g3. Takes, no, doesn't seem too good. I don't think I should be taking on h2. So I either go rook ad8 or I take. Well, the thing is, in these positions, if white is the one with the pawn on e5, then that blocks his bishop and gives me a target. So taking cannot give white an advantage, but I'm expecting it's equal. Although there could be some problems on h7 after something like rook d3. Threatening to double, and then I go rook d8, he goes rook h3. I don't have an easy way to defend the h7 pawn. So I think I don't take, I go rook ad8 for now. And if he takes, I think I take with the rook, because on d5 I can take on h2 and I have time to retreat my bishop. If you can hear something now, it's a wild storm. So okay, now I'm a tempo up in all of those variations. So there's no longer rook d3 if I do decide to take on e5. Let's go over f6 again. f6, knight d7 is not forced. He could go bishop, he could go knight f3. I cannot go rook e7, unfortunately, because I'd then be forced to take on e5 with the bishop, which isn't something I would like to do. So okay, Kira, she's afraid of the storm. Sorry about that. So maybe it's time for a5. Man, this is a very boring position. Okay, maybe bishop f8. Maybe bishop f8 to try and set up my rooks. So I go bishop f8, rook e7. Hey, Ne5 Rad8. Sorry, I have to tend to my dog as I play. Okay, I'm going bishop f8 because he's waiting and I don't want to trade on e5 just yet. He doesn't want to take either, or she. And the only way I can start doubling up my rooks is if I can go rook e7. And I don't want to take on e5 with the bishop, so... Okay, still doing nothing. So let's go rook e7. Is there any problem with that? He could retreat the knight. But I'm guessing that's okay. He could also go bishop a3, but I don't really mind trading bishops. I think his is more active. Now if he doesn't do anything, I'm going knight e5, d5 and rook d7. And I believe I will hold a slight edge. would be interesting to see if f4 is playable here. Doesn't this just win a pawn? So ed5, cd5, rook e5. If d6, I take the queen. If bishop e5, I take with the queen to stop d6. I could also take with the knight because I have a bishop on f8. I don't think this works. But we will see. I don't know what he has planned. Of course I don't take with the knight. Although I could take with the knight. I don't even have to give up the exchange. I can just... If he takes, I can just take the piece for free. Because d6 has been prevented. Because I take rook d6. This is a very strange move. I don't see why this should work. What? Okay, so if I take with the knight and he goes d6, then rook d6. Okay, so knight e5, d6, rook d6. If bishop a3, I take on d1 with check. I don't know. This makes very little sense to me. I still don't know what I should take with. So knight e5, d6, rook d6. I feel like I don't have to give up the exchange. Knight e5, d6, rook d6. If rook d6, queen d6, and then if rook d1, queen c7, and then knight e5, d6, rook d6, bishop a3, rook d1, rook d1. I don't think he has anything. I'm just taking with the knight. I mean, I could take with the rook. Let's look at rook takes. So rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. No, there's no need for that. I can just take with the knight. There's no problem with this at all. And but this is check. Come on, man. This is the simplest one. What? I was calculating bishop a3. This is just nonsense. What? Okay. He just ruined an equal position. He should have played bishop a3 there, traded bishops, and went for a draw. What? This is very strange. It's unfortunate that the game went this way. Just no fight at all. I'm sure it was perfectly equal. Okay, e3 is strange. Just equal. 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 I'm sure everything was equal. 95 is best, but it's tough to do anything in those positions. I know that, so rook ad8 cannot be bad. Why would he do this? I mean, I also could have gone rook e5 probably. Probably. Then I take with the queen. Why not? Why not take with the queen? What's wrong with that? Ah, because he has dc6. He doesn't really have dc6. Wait, why isn't this good for me? Yeah, I'm not winning a piece. I have 2 pieces for the rook, and he has some pawns. Okay, someone says in the chat, piece blundered, I blame no coffee. I didn't blunder the piece. What? I have to write that down. Okay, strange game. I mean, he should have, if I were him, I would have gone bishop a3, and after rook e8 I would have traded, and then knight takes, and then equal. Oh, it's my opponent said, I blame no coffee. Okay, so he says he blundered because he had no coffee. Okay, yeah, this was, should have been a draw. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.